The ship sailed from Southampton, and as you know, it was supposed to be an unsinkable boat, and everybody believed it. There were very distinguished people on that ship, such as John Jacob Astor, Mr. and Mrs. Guggenheim of New York, and Mr. and Mrs. Strauss of New York. I remember especially of seeing John Jacob Astor floating about, but on the other side, I don't remember much. We started out about a few days on the sea, and that after 2 days, the fog settled in, and people were very much concerned about it. They realized that we were in the almost around the icebergs. But the captain, Smith, an Englishman, wanted to make the requisite and get there a very short period of time, which no other boat had ever succeeded in doing. So we sat, as I say, after a beautiful, sumptuous dinner, after looking about in the beautiful rooms, one after the other, very beautifully furnished, distinguished people, beautifully dressed. We sat there and said, I remember the last thing my father said to me back, do you think you were lost until thought after such a tremendous meal, as you might say? My sister and I, who I was with, beside my father, went to our cabins, and about 1 o'clock, we felt this terrific jar, this terrific noise. What could it be? Here we were in this little ship, never imagining there is such terrible danger. Almost immediately, my father tapped at that door. He said, get up quickly. Don't take anything with you, but put on more clothing. So we obeyed you, as we were told to do in those days. Obey your father, and went upstairs, up the upper deck, which was then, well, you might say almost empty, because most people were still asleep, resting in their cabins. Already there was one boat that had been lowered, and already, by the time we got up there, this tremendous, great big, unsinkable Titanic was listing on one side. So the second boat was about to be filled, and I was to be in the second boat with my sister. It just filled rather readily. All women, of course. People perhaps about middle age and a bit older. The last thing I remember my father saying to me, it seems more dangerous to get into that boat. I hate to see you than to stay here on the Titanic. We got in and lowered the boat into the water, which, as you know, the deck boats are very high up on the ship. They're very high up. It's very tough. And it was frightful scene to look when you're lowered there. Most people in that boat were women, as I say, of middle age. They were so stunned that they couldn't talk, they couldn't say anything, they couldn't move. So it was up to me, the only younger person there at that time, and I have to say I was 23 at that time, to take hold of the oars and help the oarsman. He was just one man to row that boat, which I did. I'd never rowed a boat before in my life. It was quite a challenge, you might say, for me to do. But we were lowered, and immediately we were told the one thing to do is to get away. The ship is faster than you can. So we rowed, and we were quite a distance off. Of course, in the meantime, light growing dim, because we were farther away from the Titanic. And at last we were sent over perhaps the safest place to be. We'd gone far enough. So in case of danger, we couldn't believe that the ship would really sink. It would be sucked down in any way. So we were sort of stopping, coming to a little bit, as you might say, and occasionally we would see in the far distance, we'd see the light of another ship, because at that time, by the time we had gotten out to some distance, I'll perhaps say 1 mile, I never tell just how far away we were. There'd be an occasional ship come along, and we'd say, oh, there comes a ship. Maybe they'll come to our rescue and help us. They didn't dare to get near the Titanic. There were few people, some of them struggling in the water. There were few boats, as we were being rowed here and there. Nobody talking. The cold is very cold. And there we stayed, I will say, almost until dawn came. Occasionally, rockets would go out of the Titanic and try to make people see them as they try to make the other ships see them in case they were passing. Nobody dared come near us. And then the terrible moment came. The ship was sank. I'll never forget, even it was so vivid in my ears and in my sister's ears, the noise, the terrible noise it did when it really went down head first to the whole of the world. And here we were at a distance. But do a thing. Dawn came, and when it did, we realized how almost surrounded we were with ice. But that captain had to make the record, even though many people lost their lives. So dawn came, and everything was very quiet. The ship had gone. It was a lovely morning. But where were we? Where should we go? But that Carpathia in the middle of the night came along, and that was the boat that saved us. It stood by. So we rowed to the Carpathia. And my sister and I, thinking of course we'd see our father, because we didn't realize the terrible disaster, the people that had lost their lives. And I remember it's almost like a funeral as he came up the side of the ship with steps to come and see your mom. And it was almost no man at all. And if there was a man, he was disgraced. He came up, and of course he didn't see a part that the ship was loaded because it was on the way to London, heavily filled with tourists. People had to sleep on the floor wherever they, well, it didn't make any difference where they were sleeping on, but that terrible disaster, we were speechless, nobody talked. I can't remember very much. I don't think we were there more than 2 days. And I don't really remember about the meals. I don't remember if you talking with people. I can't remember anything.